In this episode, I talk about the magic of cacao flower elixir, the value of healing crises, and the importance of making yourself your number one priority in order to create the human, embodied stability necessary for the kind of personal growth that we all want. Welcome to the Flower Lounge, a place for conversations with wildly creative people and a little plant-loving wisdom to help you experience life in full bloom. I'm Katie Hess, flower alchemist and founder of LOTUSWEI, and I believe in a world where we're all living at our personal edge. Welcome to the Flowerlounge Podcast. This week I'm going to talk about a flower. I have been really drawn to speaking more about the flowers and really giving a voice to their incredible healing potential and powers. I will feature one flower every month, and I love doing interviews and exposing people to new viewpoints and perspectives and people that are living outside of the norm or really living on the edge of their own lives and challenging themselves, because I believe that when we see examples of people doing really wild things, beautiful, following their passions, seeking truth, it inspires us to do the same. And we are the Flowerlounge Podcast. So if you are interested in hearing more about flowers, just letting you know, I'm going to feature one particular flower every month going forward. And if you want to hear more about flowers, or you have more questions about flower essences and the healing power of Mother Nature, let me know if there's things that you want to know, and I can dedicate specific episodes to your questions. This week, I'd like to focus on a flower that grows in the tropical areas, and it is one that is the embodiment of one of the most powerful fruits in the United States, at least. It's one of my favorite fruits, and that is the cacao plant. It's the source of all of the cacao rituals that we see coming out. It is the source for every childhood and adulthood chocolate memory that you have. It is one of the most beautiful trees and fruits and flowers on the planet. I mean, if you just think about how widespread chocolate is and how it is for many people a daily experience, it is a daily nutritional profile, it is a daily flavor, it is something that, I mean, what a precious tree and fruit and substance. It flavors smoothies. It's the flavor of ice cream. Chocolate is like, for so many people, for the people who love chocolate, it is like the embodiment of comfort and nourishment. And so it is not ironic that the flower essence for cacao, and I'm going to show you, for those of you viewing on YouTube, you can see an image of the flower. If you are listening to this audio, definitely check out the blog for images of the cacao flower. It is stunning. One of the most unique aspects about the cacao flower is that it just grows right off the trunk, right off the branches of the tree. It's not like, how most trees, there's the trunk and then they have the branches, and all the way at the tips are the flowers and the fruits. And cacao flower is so different in that it just sprouts flowers right out of the trunk. It is the weirdest thing. And if you've traveled to countries that have cacao trees, it really is quite something to see. Not only these beautiful exotic white flowers, kind of in a way the shape reminds me of passion flower in that they're just super exotic and gorgeous and intriguing. And then when the flower transforms into the fruit, you see these ginormous cacao pods just growing right off, like hanging right off the trunk. It is phenomenal. We posted a video also of the process of making chocolate. When we were in Costa Rica, Taylor and I visited a family farm that has somewhere close to 500 native local varietals of cacao that grow in that particular area in Costa Rica. And we got a tour. It was phenomenal. So we just shot a tiny little video on the process, what it looks like in their cacao forest, what the fruit tastes like, how they get the beans out, the drying, the fermenting, the grinding, the putting the cacao pods back to the earth. It's all the chickens and animals and stuff around. It's really, really sweet. Really, really sweet, genuine, gorgeous people that we spend time with on the cacao farm. And cacao flower essence, as you might, connect the dots between this sense of, I eat dark chocolate and I feel this kind of yummy, warm feeling, the flower essence is for nourishment and recognizing how we nourish ourselves. So on some level, there are these like basic needs that we provide ourselves with, right? When we're hungry, we go and eat. We need meals. We need to use the bathroom. We need to sleep. We need rest. We need breaks. We need fresh air. There are these common basic foundational human needs that we have that in the modern world, we tend to brush aside and say, like, that's not that important. What's really important is like my brain and my computer and my digital stuff and my computer brain and my productivity and my output. And we tend to dismiss our basic needs and our nourishment. And now I believe we are in a time period of remembering how important it is to nourish ourselves on these basic needs. It's something that my spiritual teacher has always really, hit home really hard in all the many years that I've known him, the importance of eating when you're hungry or eating at the same time every day so that your body knows it's getting nourishment, sleeping when you feel tired, resting when you're fatigued, going to the bathroom when you feel like you have to go to the bathroom. I don't know why we suppress these things, or we're like, later. Like, I'll go pee in like 10 minutes after I get this thing done. Like, how bizarre is that, right? But we do it. And one of the magical qualities of the cacao flower coming into our hands and our bodies as a sort of rewiring energetically is that it teaches and trains us that taking care of our basic needs is a way that we retrain ourselves that we are our top priority. We have been so exterior focused as a culture, as people, as a planet. We've become very, especially with social media, we're looking at what everyone else is doing. And we forget that the most important aspects of our lives are inside of us. And that what we see as an external world is merely a reflection of what's on the inside. So flower essences as a modality are a powerful way to restructure and rewire patterning that lies within you. So then the world can reflect back a different reality to you. It's like when His Holiness the Dalai Lama says, world peace comes from inner peace. We can't have world peace unless all of us are seeking inner peace within. And so the particular flower essence sort of quality that the cacao flower is bringing into consciousness at this point in time is this sense of awareness and knowingness about what I need, what you need, about what the body needs on a real nourishment level, right? Like if you stop eating, you starve. You will die if you stop eating. And so it is very important. And we know we have to eat lunch and dinner, and we have to eat meals in order to think clearly, operate at our maximum capacity. That seems like a no-brainer. And yet we sometimes make ourselves the last priority. So cacao comes in as a reminder to let us know, to reiterate, to repattern that we are our greatest priority. And I want to shift gears here a little bit to talk about a healing crisis, actually, that I had with the cacao flower over the weekend. And healing crises in general are phenomenal, fabulous indicators of not only our practice of awareness, but also the flower essence's capacity to bring something to the surface so we can see it really clearly and shift it. Sometimes we need these catalysts to show us quickly so we can make the shift quickly. So here's the silly story. It's a silly story. Over the weekend, on Saturday, I really wanted to make a new flower essence blend and then go out into the desert and collect a particular flower that I had seen the week prior. The weekend prior, I was out of the desert and this particular cactus was blooming like crazy. There were thousands of flowers. It was just like arresting in its beauty in this like beautiful orange and yellow color. And whenever I'm really drawn to a flower, I want to listen to that impulse because it's just, I've seen over the years and tested it that it's always meaningful. So I came to the office and I made time to create this new blend, which I'm really excited about. It should come out soon. It's sort of like as the 3.0 version of Infinite Love and Fierce Compassion. So I did that, and that felt really good. And then I was just going to be on my way out to the desert to collect this flower when I got a text that someone wanted to come and pick up chocolate. It's Mother's Day tomorrow. There's all these like last minute folks who want to pick up chocolate. We have a store here in Phoenix, Arizona. We are open by appointment only Monday through Friday. But, it's like this, my best friend who runs this chocolate company, and I really wanted to help her out. And I really wanted to help out the folks who really wanted dark chocolate for their family members and for their mom on Mother's Day. But then there was I was torn. I need to get out to the desert. I have a certain time window. I have to cook dinner this evening. I have to be back so that I can cook dinner and be responsible for other people's nourishment. And I've got to get out to the desert before the sun goes down. I want to make a sunset essence, which typically is, I'll only make flower essences during the morning, or if it's night blooming flower at night. But I've felt really strongly about making a sunset flower essence for this particular flower. And so I just had this moment where I was torn between I feel selfish because I want to go out and collect this flower essence, and this is what I want to do, and I want to go to the desert, and I feel drawn to making this thing happen. But I should be of service, and I should look out for these other people and care for other people. And in the end, got it all sorted out in my brain of, it's not that I'm going to have a margarita with a friend. It's what I want to do is also going to benefit thousands of people. And so it isn't actually selfish. And we can actually lean into the notion that what is best for us is best for everyone. We can lean into that and wholeheartedly trust that. And we can also trust our inner compass to let us know when ding, 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 okay, maybe you're not being authentic, right? So if I were going to go hole myself up in a closet and eat a couple pints of ice cream and watch movies because I want to avoid what's happening around in the world, or I don't want to help someone, right? That's selfish. But feeling this desire to go out into the desert and make a flower essence is not selfish. And I share this story because you may be confronted if you are working with cacao flower elixir, or maybe not. Maybe if you're not working with flower elixir, you may still be confronted with this particular pattern. It's just that the flower elixirs will help you kind of snap to a lot quicker. The pattern of doing what you need to do, doing what feels right to you, doing what, trusting in your intuition, trusting in your gut, trusting that what feels right for you is what's right for you, even if it's not what's right for other people, or if you feel like you should somehow accommodate other people, or, don't be selfish. That when we trust ourselves, when we make ourselves a priority, when we make our nourishment and our creativity and our passion and our drive to do something positive in the world, when we make that our first priority, that is always a good thing. When we take ourselves seriously, then we teach other people they can take themselves seriously. And serious not in a serious, but in a sort of conviction and belief, right? If it's we are, with the help of cacao flower elixir, retraining ourselves to be our biggest cheerleader and our best friend. That it is okay to make ourselves first priority. It's okay to trust in what our basic needs are. It's okay to trust in our inclination and our conviction in what we feel. So again, and my friend completely understood. And, this whole situation was just a blow up in my mind. It's a little mini healing crisis of the cacao flower, pulling something from the depths of me of, is what I want to do worthy? Is what I want to do, should it be a priority, or should I put other people, this notion of am I putting other people, should I put someone else before me, or should I put me before? It really isn't that dualistic. And that we can trust in our innate sort of like desire to do something. And I could trust that if there was something in me that said, no, I think I really need to stay and like serve this person that wants to come in, I would be able to trust myself that that would arise inside of me. So even though the flower elixir is about nourishment, it's also about self-trust. It's about trusting in yourself and your inclinations and your little whisperings inside of yourself and the things you feel drawn to do or not do, that you can trust in that. And so just like diverting a little bit here to talk about healing crises, because they're fun. A healing crisis is when you're working with a flower elixir and for maybe an hour or a couple hours or a day, you feel conflicted about something, or you feel all bent out of shape, or your mind is like trying to figure something out, or you feel a bit like a dog with a bone, kind of grinding on the bone and trying to figure something out, or something is just like uncomfortable. A situation is uncomfortable and you feel conflicted or sad or left out, or, whatever the patterning is, it just like intensifies for a moment in time. Moment meaning moment, an hour, 2 hours, a day. And then it passes. And these are things that they're patterning that is coming up from inside of you and coming up to come out. So you are in essence like re-experiencing this as it comes up to come out. It's similar to, if you are familiar with homeopathy and the premise of homeopathy, where you get such a tiny dilute amount of something to help your body adjust. So it's like, for example, when you cut onions and you start to tear up, there is a homeopathic remedy called allium, which is helpful for those times when, say, you have allergies or your eyes are tearing or your eyes are irritated. You take the most minute substance down to a form that it's only energetic. So similar to flower essences in that there is no more physical chemical component involved. That's why we can take homeopathic remedies like arsenic or lead, because it is so dilute that it really is just the energetic component of the substance and not the actual chemical makeup. So oftentimes in homeopathy, they talk about re-experiencing some kind of physical symptom that was buried. So let's say let's say I had a skin condition. Let's say I had acne or something. And then I took some sort of chemical medicine to like suppress it. If I later in life had that issue and worked with homeopathy, it is possible that my skin would re-experience irritation. It's like it's re-experiencing itself on the way out as it is healing itself. It's where it feels like it gets worse before it gets better. And then that patterning sort of exhausts itself and then it doesn't come back. So that's always our aim in the world of flower essences, is not only just to have more awareness and potentiality of observation of the patterns, which in turn helps them dissolve or shift or move or change, but also to allow things to move around on the inside so they can come up to come out, and you sort of re-experiencing it as it comes up to come out, which is the uncomfortable part. And that's why we call it a healing crisis. Crisis in the sense of it's nothing that you can't handle. It's just a sort of crunch moment where you feel, or I should speak in first person, I feel compromised in that moment. Like if I were being called to task to do something important, I wouldn't do it in that moment. Like I wouldn't record a podcast in the moment that I'm having a healing crisis because it's like there's something shifting and changing. There is alchemy occurring. There's like a reaction happening that requires my full attention and observation and being with it in order to move as quickly as it needs to move. So if you are one of the lucky ones that experiences healing crisis with any particular flower essence, whether it's cacao or crown flower or anything else that you come in contact with, it is a gift and it is an opportunity to observe the patterning. It's like looking at the clouds moving in the sky when you are the sky and the clouds is the patterning or the emotion or the thought pattern, or that sort of grinding sensation of wanting to figure something out. For some people, it feels more like anxiety. For some people, it feels like sluggishness or stuckness. whatever it is that is happening, and it can present in a million different forms, right? Because that's what's being unearthed to come up, to come out. A healing crisis is a gift, and it's like showing you the flower essence is moving something inside of you. You together with the flower essence are moving something on the inside. And then once it comes up to come out, you feel a million times better. And those patterns can shift permanently. I know some people will work with a particular essence because it's like their core pattern. Like one of my friends from childhood actually reached out, sent me a text the other day and said, I have been working with Truth Teller for an entire year. And she said, I felt like I wasn't going to be able to function in this high level job that I have and be able to do presentations and present in the capacity that I need to. She said she felt like she couldn't speak, like everything was all stuck in her throat. And so she just kept working with Truth Teller for almost an entire year, and she continues to work with it. And it has given her the capacity to speak really freely and to express herself. And then she said that when she's driving home from work, she turns up the music and sings. And that's one of the other sort of unexpected side benefits that has come from that. And so there are particular remedies that we may want to work with for extended periods of time, because there is a particular challenge that we have, or patterning that has just, been imprinted and, reprinted and reenacted so many times that we want as many opportunities to take a look at it as we can. And there are other patterns that could be, we pull it up and out and it's done and it's gone. It's over. Like the point of the Flower Evolution program that we have and this month of working with Cacao Flower Elixir is that I want anyone who works with the Cacao Flower Elixir to be able to get a powerful, impactful opportunity in this 1 month of time to observe when you put yourself in the back burner, your own most basic, precious human needs that care for this vessel of a body that takes you everywhere you go. This vessel of a body that operates on its own. Your heart beats, you breathe, your eyes blink, you eliminate, you take in, you absorb nutrients. All of these things, this body as a house, as a temporary home, is doing for you without having to think about it. And so this is an opportunity to look at when we put our basic needs on the back burner and how we can then put them back on the front burner. We can make ourselves our number one priority. And that is okay. That is, in fact, not selfish. That is, in fact, what all of us as human beings have the capacity to do, so that we can create abundance and that things can be more easeful and more effortless and more rich and nutritious and lovely. It reminds me that when we've done retreats in Costa Rica, I'm a firm believer that dark chocolate, there's some sort of magic to dark chocolate that's beyond comfort, that's in the minerals. None of this is based on a study. This is just a theory that I have. There is something about the substance of dark chocolate that is super grounding and gives the energetic bodies stability when undergoing a situation of alchemy. So when we are experiencing a great change or a transformation, which is so meaningful on so many levels right now, right? From the individual to everything that's going on. When we are experiencing a great change, it can sometimes take us off of our center or feel like unstable. And dark chocolate has the capacity to really ground us, right? When I do flower essence circles and we cycle through, quite possibly 100 flower essences in one evening, that's a lot of layers of, the onion that we're peeling off in one evening. And people sometimes will get a bit giddy and lightheaded. And so I like to have dark chocolate there in those situations, and also at our retreats in Costa Rica, because people are experiencing such a rapid energetic change. Their energetic bodies are like processing a lot of information very quickly, dumping things that aren't needed, absorbing things that are, what we already know to be true, and turning up the volume on them so that we can express ourselves to the greatest capacity of our wisdom and awareness in that moment. And so dark chocolate, is a stabilizing force. And the flower is similar, less physical, more ethereal, teaching us how to make our physical bodies a priority so that we can allow the more subtle ethereal effects of our own transformation capacity, of our own alchemical capacity to evolve as human beings. In the end, you may have heard me say this before, in the end, we don't need flower essences at all. In the end, we are the one need to transform ourselves. Flower essences are just a catalyst, a spark. They turn up the volume, they turn up the speed, they make it go faster, they help us see things more quickly, perhaps. But we are ultimately the ones that do the work. And so if you are interested in a flower essence that is gentle and subtle, but that helps remind you what are those things that need to be priority number one, your nourishment, your basic needs, your passions, your conviction, your alignment, your trust, your self-trust. What are those things that need to be in place and in alignment in order for you to allow and accept the greatest capacity of alchemy and transformation to occur within you? And when you do that, you also expand the capacity of other people to do the same, right? If you do it, other people can sense or feel you doing it, and they also can do the same. So the beauty of this incredible gift from Mother Nature, of this wild, white, exotic flower that grows on a tree in tropical areas, is a tremendous gift for helping mirror back to us our ability to know that what is best for us is best for everyone on the planet, and that we can trust in ourselves. We can trust in our own inclinations, our own impulses, our own drives to do certain things. We can trust in our own level of discernment of what is needed, nourishing, lovely, comforting, abundance creating, and what is making us feel small or bitter or not valuable or not worthy or not trusting in ourselves. We can more clearly discern, and we can just create a really rich and ripe environment for alchemy and transformation to occur, which is sort of a process that none of us really understand. It's the unknown. It's the wild and woolly unknown. It's the jumping off the cliff feeling. So the more that we can, it makes sense, the more that we can stabilize our energetic bodies and stabilize our human form. If it's hungry, give it food. If it needs rest, give it rest. If it needs a break, give it break. If it needs fresh air, give it fresh air. If it needs nature time, give it nature time. If it needs exercise, movement, give it movement. So that we can stabilize, because we are human too, right? We are spiritual beings living in a human body. We also need to care for our human bodies. Part of spiritual awakening is caring for our human bodies. I remember a story about Sakyamuni in India on his quest to become enlightened, went through this period of time where he thought he needed to essentially starve himself. He was just like all skin and bones and on the verge of death, and not on the verge of enlightenment, just on the verge of death, right? Of skin and bones. And this beautiful woman showed up with a bowl of sweet rice. And in that moment, he realized, like, oh my God, I've really been a fool. I need to care for my human body in order to create the stability to allow the causes and conditions to be perfect for alchemy, transformation, and in his case, enlightenment. So if you are a person that believes that we have unlimited capacity and potential as human beings for growth and evolution, that we have a capacity beyond our wildest dreams, beyond what our thinking, rational, figure it outy mind can perceive or conceive of, then it's a good reminder to come back to taking care of our human form, our precious human bodily home, so that we can then allow for greatest capacity of transformation to occur. So I hope that this podcast has been interesting and served you in some way. If you feel inspired to work with a cacao flower elixir, that is wonderful. I have been working with it for several weeks, and it is powerful. I highly recommend you making yourself priority number one. And if you are not interested in working with the Cacao Flower Elixir, then I hope you can come away with something from these podcast episodes featuring flowers that is encouragement for you to make yourself priority number one, to recognize what is it that creates a condition of stability and nourishment and ease and overflowing abundance. You know, that feeling when you have a great meal and your body's happy and your mind's happy and the world is just like abundant and wonderful and great, and everybody's satiated and everybody's fulfilled and everybody's belly is full, right? You can make, there are people who, I have a friend in India who he's a restaurant owner, and he's sending me photos and videos almost daily of his activities of going out into rural areas in Gaya, India, and delivering vegetables and rice to the people out in the villages who are on lockdown like the rest of the world and are not able to work and are hungry. And he's fixing their water wells. And it's incredibly inspiring to see him and his activities and his ability to mobilize his community and benefit in ways that are incredibly impactful. And if we can contribute to those actions, we should. And if we are not able to, one way that we can contribute is to take care of our own bodies, to have a good meal. And in that, having a good meal, dedicating the merit, right? You've taken care of your human body. You can dedicate the merit of that so that every belly may be full on the planet. That's something that we do at LOTUSWEI a lot, is we do dedication. So when we would have Flowerlounge events, we would, be ripping off all the petals, as we have like thousands and thousands of flowers that we would lay out in beautiful mandalas. And the team would all say, every petal that I remove from this flower, may it be XYZ, and we make a dedication. So in some cities we would say, may it be one less crime. So in this case, you can make yourself a priority, nourish yourself, give your human form what it needs, and make the dedication. In filling my own belly, may every belly be full in this planet. May everyone feel satiated. May everyone feel full and fulfilled and overflowing and lush and abundant. Those dedications are powerful and matter and create impact. So that's one way that you can bring the essence of the cacao flower into your life, even if you're not working with the elixir, is being aware of the conditions that you put yourself in that lead to the greatest capacity for energetic inner wisdom, transformation, alchemy, and insight from the inside. I dedicate this podcast episode so that you may experience a greater capacity to nourish yourself, to make yourself your number one priority, and knowing that you are inseparable from all beings everywhere. May that ripple out to all beings, that we allow ourselves to be nourished, to be full, to be satiated, to make our inclinations and our drives and our convictions and our self-trust be the compass of maintaining our alignment and stability for our own personal evolution. Thanks for being with us on the Flowerlounge Podcast. I really appreciate your support. If you have any questions or you have any ideas, any questions at all about flower essences, or you want to know more, please reach out. Happy to share. Thank you so much for listening to the Flower Lounge. I'm Katie Hess, and we'll be releasing a new podcast every Wednesday. If you like what you heard, or you know someone who might be touched by our conversation, share it with them. And don't forget to subscribe. To find out what your favorite flowers mean about you, take the quiz at LOTUSWEI.com.